India is very energy hungry. As India develops further, the requirement of energy will be even higher. Burning of coal produces carbon dioxide, and that in turn causes global warming. India also has deep strengths in nuclear energy. Nuclear or atomic energy is considered a relatively carbon-free source of energy. On this episode of Life and Science with Pallav Bagla, it's all about energy security and energy independence for India. That is the story of India's energy independence. India is developing very rapidly. As it develops and becomes one of the most populous countries of the world, the energy requirement for India is going to be enormous. Behind me is one of India's more modern electricity generating plants, a plant which uses gas for producing electricity. Indian scientists have made India self-sufficient or Atmanirbhar and given us food security through green revolution. On this episode, it's all about can India become energy independent soon? And to explain to us the complexities, the policies needed, and the technologies that need to be developed, we have with us Professor R.R. Sonde. Namaskar.
Namaskar, namaskar.
Professor Sonde is a professor of practice at Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi, and an thinker on energy. He spent many years at the Bhabha Atomic Research Center in Mumbai looking at nuclear energy, and then took a close look at coal at NTPC, or the National Thermal Power Corporation. He also spent a lot of time in the private sector at Thermac. But more recently, he's looking at futuristic solutions for India. Can India be decarbonized soon? Professor Sonde, thanks a lot for joining us. And a location which is full of energy on the banks of the Yamuna, sun on top of us, gas turbine station behind us. What is India's energy bouquet today, sir?
Currently, if you look at the India's energy bouquet, we have got 5 different energy sources. Number one, of course, remains the prime is coal, because coal is one of the India's foremost fossil reserve, and today about 68 to 70% of the energy comes from coal as our primary energy. We have also got some part of this oil. Of course, we import oil about 85%, but 15% is the indigenous production, and little bit of a gas. Of course, most of the gas comes from outside. So that's the second source which is utilized in India for its energy kind of a needs. Hydro is number 3 that we are talking about. Nuclear, I mean, that's the place that I began. I cut my teeth in this vast field of energy technology is in the nuclear energy. Of course, nuclear is still a growing field. And, I remember, Pallav, when we joined atomic energy, the great Homi Bhabha said, no power is as expensive as no power.
No power, correct.
I mean, it is indoctrinated in us. So important for any country's growth, GDP and lifestyle and human development index. It is energy. And there has been no cost which can be compromised by the country and become independent. So nuclear energy becomes our important source of energy. And now, as you are saying, the solar and the renewable energy. So these are the bouquet of energies that we are using. But Pallav, I just want to clarify one thing because I think it's an opportunity to do that. very often we mistake energy is equal to electricity. Of course, electricity is one of the important forms of the carriers of energy, like what this particular power plant is doing. But I would like to tell you that energy is not electricity alone. Today, only 16% of the energy of this country is electricity, and 84% is the energy in the form of thermal energy. Like all the industries, like you are wearing a cloth, you are wearing a shoe, you are eating some food, every chemical, petrochemical, steel, cement require thermal energy. And that's almost on the order of 45% of the energy is in the thermal energy form. And then there's the energy which is required for the transport energy, because that's also not in the electricity form, though today we are trying to migrate from the internal combustion engine to a electric mobility, which we'll talk a little later. So I just want to tell you that when we talk about the energy, it's a whole gamut of energy, from electrical energy to the thermal energy, to the transport energy, to the energy required for the residential applications. And that is where today India is consuming approximately is about 946 million tons of oil equivalent, or it's equal to about 9,300 terawatt hours. 9,300 into 10 power 12 watt hours, out of which about 1,400 terawatt hours is electricity, which forms about 16% of the energy.
But within this, how much are we importing?
Good question, good question. See, actually, if you look at it, as far as the electricity is concerned, because most of them are almost, as I said, 68% is on the coal, it's all internally used, but still, as a kind of a security, we still import coal from South Africa or from Indonesia. So today India is consuming about 1 billion ton of coal, and about 100 to 120 million tons of coal is imported. But gas, almost 90% of the gas we are importing it. Oil, which are importing, is of the order of 85%, which is coming to about $140 billion as a part of the import, and the current account deficit is because of the largely import of the crude oil, which is not only used for energy, which is also used for the material throughput, like the fertilizers, ammonia, petrochemicals, and a lot of those other things are using these kind of a fossils. So this is the kind of a range of what we import.
Professor Sonde, we have a lot of coal, is that correct? And is there any concerns with the kind of coal we have?
Absolutely right, Pallavji, that we have got coal. I mean, the latest, whatever are the proven, inferred, and indicated, these are the three types. We are about 319 billion tons, hold your breath. So 319 billion tons of coal means that India, it can last for next 200 years.
200 years?
200 years,
Then
India
why are we
can
so worried?
meet the indigenous requirement. Absolutely right.
Why are we worried about energy independent? We have coal, we are already energy independent.
Yes. The only thing is, there were two issues. One is, of course, coal means carbon, carbon means carbon dioxide, and you know all that aspect on the climate change and global warming. And therefore, the way the coal has been utilized for last 75 years, which you mentioned and alluded to, today's time has come that coal has to reinvent itself in the form of converting the coal into liquid, converting coal into gas, converting coal into hydrogen. This is very crucial. We are at the real crucial point that we make a trajectory change. All this time, coal was converted into thermal, and thermal into a turbine like this, and from there into electricity. And today the time has come where the coal will have to reinvent itself in the form of liquid fuels, which can really bring the security
Which is
of
your
India's
current area of work. Absolutely. We will go into your laboratory and talk about
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely.
Professor Sonde, there is one question which many people ask me. Has nature, geology, geography, the continents been unkind towards India by not giving us enough oil and gas and not giving us enough uranium?
Well, I mean, there's a very, very philosophical come the whole evolutionary question, Palo. But we should not be really kind of cursing ourselves that we don't have this easy oil. I think in a way that you are looking today, the almighty solar energy is so well available, so much abundant in this country. Thorium is available in this country and coal is available in this country. Only thing is that we earlier went on with some technology which were not developed. Today the scientists in the country are now ready to take these three resources which are abundantly available in this country and secure so important India's energy independence. I'm totally convinced about this. If you are able to do that with your climate change technology, the clean technology which are embedded to this particular thing, I think we are on the right track in the next 25 years to reach that goal.
You mentioned about climate change and global warming. So is decarbonizing India's economy as we grow a imperative, or is it being thrust on us?
I would say there is no conflict between getting our energy requirement, which are going to rise exponentially as India is growing and we are going to become a $5 trillion economy not in a distant future, and trying to make that energy carbon free. I think it is important that we need to develop now technologies which are important, that which meets the energy requirement and at the same time takes care of carbon. I would like to assure you, Pallavji, that it's not a very simple equation, okay? To increase the energy using our own indigenous resources and to take care of the carbon and newer technology, which we'll talk towards the end in my laboratory, the carbon capture technologies, carbon utilization technologies, carbon storage technologies need to be integrated with our coal technologies, and that is the place that they will come together as a confluence. And I don't see that this is something which is thrust upon us, which should become imperative for us.
You also mentioned, Dr. Homi Bhabha, you mentioned about nuclear. India has tremendous capabilities which have developed over decades with expertise like you, Dr. Anil Kakodkar, and the whole team at the Department of Atomic Energy. Nuclear energy is a fairly carbon-free source of energy. Why are we not deploying it in a big way?
Yes, I think we have. I mean, we have got such an incredibly indigenous program on nuclear, and I'm a proud product of that particular space. But I know that it has not got the momentum or the traction what it deserves, especially nuclear energy being a carbon-free energy, and we have got abundant resources of thorium, which is available.
Correct.
Thorium is available, and then we can use the phase 1 plutonium and use this thorium or uranium and build those reactors. I think the time has come, Pallavji, to actually now give a momentum to the nuclear energy. But the way this nuclear energy will come, because we came from a kind of a 3-phase program, I think we need to accelerate that program into what we call the small modular reactors. SMR is the answer for the nuclear energy, where rather than building 1600 megawatts, 1.6 gigawatt kind of a big power stations, can we bring it down to 100 megawatts, 10 megawatts? Just in your backyard, can we have such safe, non-proliferable reactors? Is my view answer, and I'm sure that is going. And not only nuclear energy will go only for electricity, nuclear hydrogen is one of the better way. Nuclear desalination, I mean, you can see in our whole coast, we need water, and nuclear energy can be used to get your water for drinking purposes. I think there is a time has come for bringing nuclear in the main bouquet of energies.
Having understood how coal is important for India, let us now go and talk about mobility. That is one big energy guzzler. Let's go. India is on the move. We are standing at the Delhi-Meerut Expressway, one of India's widest highways. Across the Sonde, hundreds of cars and vehicles going behind us. Are they mostly running on imported gas, diesel and fuel?
I totally agree, Pallav. 85% of these particular vehicles are propelled by imported oil and gas. 85%. They emit almost 18% carbon dioxide, which is in a dispersed form. You cannot even capture that carbon dioxide. So we are using an imported fuel, and we are also emitting carbon dioxide, which is getting dispersed and contributing to the 18% of the emissions of carbon dioxide in this country.
And this will only increase because this is one of the best highways, and many like this
This will. As India touches higher and higher economic growth, we have got 200 million vehicles, they will go to 800 million vehicles, and then you can imagine what kind of pollution. And it's not only the carbon dioxide, it is NOxes, it's particulate matter, it is diesel, it is SOxes, which are creating a tremendous challenge to the micro environment here.
So what is the solution? Is there a greener solution to mobility?
Sure. I think the e-mobility, I mean, look at the beauty of this e-mobility, Pallavji. I mean, internal combustion engine having 250 parts replaced by 5 parts of an electric motor-driven vehicle, I think is the answer to this particular solution. I think e-mobility is the future of the mobility space. Of course, e-mobility would require electricity. Right now, e-mobility is now maybe taking the carbon energy, carbon electricity. But my own belief is that over the next 1 decade, e-mobility will have 2 things. One is the battery driven for the city mobility, and believe me, hydrogen for the long distance, interstate, commercial vehicles like trucks and trailers and automobiles, locomotives, and all those big trailers will be e-mobility. But that e-mobility will come from hydrogen, fuel cells, and the electric motor, whereas here they will be all supported based on the electric mobility based on lithium ion, probably lithium ion as a battery source for energy storage. So it's good that India is making a step, and as our Honorable Minister has said, that in next 1 decade, at least 20% of the vehicles will be e-mobility, and I think that's a great news.
Having heard about coal, gas, oil and batteries, there is one thing which is in abundance in India, which is sunshine. Let us take a look if solar energy can be part of the bouquet of solutions for India attaining energy independence, or is renewables a romantic dream? Let's go, sir. India is a tropical country, well endowed with sunshine. Behind me are solar power generators. Professor Sonde, is renewable a solution for India, and is it a lasting solution?
Very nice. One sentence, it is a solution. Undoubtedly, solar, the solar PV, and of course to some extent wind is a solution to India's energy independence and of course decarbonization. But I'd like to only add that it is not the solution. The solution is not going to be only solar. We need solar as a part of the solution. As I said, coal is going to be undoubtedly taking the dominant portion, and of course nucleus. So we have got these 3 important parts on which India's energy independence lies. Coming back to, as I said, solar, I think this is the greatest, I think, Albert Einstein talked about the photoelectric got his Nobel Prize, and today we are saying that the globe and India, we have got 55 gigawatts of energy we have added in solar in just last 6 years. It's an amazing thing. Yes, as India is going to grow, we are going to put our 400 gigawatts of solar energy into the grid, and which should meet, according to me, in next 3 decades or maybe in 5 decades, 2070, about 25% of the energy. Which means it's a very substantial number. Today it is hardly 1%. I mean, with all this growth, solar energy contributes only 1%. From there to go to 25% in next 3 decades is an amazing step. But I would like to kind of caution you that it is not going to meet 100%. So let us not delude ourselves in saying that solar energy will kind of meet all the energy requirements. And therefore, important thing is that yes, we need to look at it. We need to see how we can increase the efficiency. I mean, these are giving about 17%, 98% efficiency. Now, today there are new cells which can give you 28% efficiency, 35%, the triple junction cells, I mean, the perovskites, there are tandem cells. So there is so much of a development which is taking place so that the energy from each one of these particular thing can be increased. And second important thing which I mentioned, how to store this energy, okay? And therefore, hydrogen becomes another important cog in this entire energy because you can use this electricity, split water electrolytically, and then get hydrogen because then hydrogen becomes a cleanest form of a energy carrier. Like electricity is an energy carrier, hydrogen becomes an energy carrier, and both of them will become a decarbonized energy, which is where India is going to be moving and bringing all these aspects together in a decarbonized, energy independent country that we are aspiring. That's what it is.
Let us now go into the laboratory where some of the futuristic work on how India can become energy independent is being done. Let's go. If India's economy has to be decarbonized, the solutions will emerge from labs like this. Dr. Sonde, you have expressed that India needs to decarbonize. Now, what is you, your team, and Indian scientists doing to give India a future as free of carbon as possible?
Yes. As I said, coal will remain to be the backbone of India's energy. That's period. But it has to be reinventing itself. The coal, that means we want coal to give its energy but not carbon. So how do you solve this problem of getting the energy but not taking away the carbon is happening in this particular lab? Here what we are doing is that rather than a conventional way a coal energy is extracted, we are gasifying coal. That means we are converting the coal into what we call synthesis gas, which is essentially a mixture of carbon monoxide and hydrogen. And once you get that molecule of carbon monoxide and hydrogen, a lot of things can be done. You can convert that into petrochemicals, you can convert that into hydrogen, you can convert that. It's a kind of a basic building block. So rather than depending on the imported crude or imported gas, if you are able to get this technology of a coal to gas, and that is where we are working on 3 phases. One is gasify the coal, clean the coal, and later on convert the coal into chemicals. And these are all the places where we are looking at how do you convert this solid mass we are talking into a liquid fuels. And the last thing is there is remaining carbon dioxide. How are you able to capture them and either convert them or sequester them? So at the source itself, you are extracting the energy, you are taking care of the carbon dioxide, making it completely zero emission, and thereby abundant supply of coal is extracted for energy and carbon is taken care of to meet the India's commitment of net zero.
So is this what is carbon capture, utilization, storage, CCUS? Is this what it is?
Yes, it is. This is exactly the same thing where we are looking at once you get the carbon dioxide, what are the different pathways?
So waste to wealth?
Absolutely. I think this is the ultimate definition of waste to wealth and a zero emission, what we call a circular economy. Circular economy. Get that carbon back into the system, and that's probably a living example that we are working deep science. There's a deep science in this particular thing.
Look, Professor Sonde, can you keep your hand on your heart and give us an assurance that India will be energy independent in very soon?
100%. Hand on my heart. I promise that in coming 2.5 decades, India will secure its energy. India will become energy independent and meet all its climate change obligations. That's for sure.
Thanks a lot for speaking to us, Professor Sonde. I wish you and your luck success and good luck for making India energy independent. Our scientists gave us food security. Our scientists have given us security through the atom bombs.
Yes.
Now what we need is energy security. Do give us very soon. Thanks a lot for speaking.
I'm sure. Thank you so much, Pallav.
If India has to go into a low carbon economy, the solution lies in reinventing coal. Technologies for reinventing coal will be developed in laboratories like this. For India, coal is king. The world may say what it feels like, but technology to decarbonize and minimize emissions of carbon dioxide, that research will come from India's laboratories. Indian scientists finding Indian solutions for a typically Indian problem of decarbonizing India's economy as India grows and India develops. There is no doubt that India is energy hungry, and that hunger will be fulfilled by using clean, green fuels. Keep watching India Science.